How does it look for the Arab world to be openly quarreling about venues and formats for the meetings and so on and so forth, while Gazans continue to die in huge numbers? How is it justified to Arab public opinion?
I mean, it doesn't look good, obviously, taking into account the reaction of the public opinion in all Arab nations. Now, I think what is important now at the end of the day that the Arab leaders, or some Arab leaders, could have today a meeting in Doha, which came up with some important decisions, and we hope that the Kuwait summit, which will take place soon, will be an opportunity for the Arab leaders to come up with a common position on how to put an end to the Israeli aggression.
But in view of the ongoing divisions, how likely is that to happen?
I think the Arab countries have no other option than come up with a common position. At the end of the day, when and how, I cannot answer, but I don't think that, taking into account the magnitude of the Arab reaction to the horrors that have been taking place in Gaza, the Arab leaders have another option than get together and come up with a common position.
But in the best case scenario, what would that common position be? What would it entail?
I think it is important that all Arab states condemn very clearly the aggression that has been taking place in Gaza and call for a ceasefire, a full ceasefire in Gaza, and agree on measures and actions to strengthen, to unify, first of all, the Palestinian resistance, to strengthen the ranks of the Palestinian resistance, and to rebuild what has been destroyed by the Israeli
But as you know,
army.
there are two distinct camps, and some in one of those two camps, namely Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and others, are very loath to the idea of lending a helping hand to the Palestinian resistance.
I think at the end of the day, everybody will agree on the need to lend a hand to the Palestinian resistance. There is no other choice.
Let me ask you about the United Nations. You were based there as
Right.
ambassador for many years. You,
Right.
in fact, represented Algeria in the Security Council when there was a lot of movement going on
Right.
a few years ago to do with Iraq. And then we saw the Security Council being very swift in adopting resolution after resolution and making sure that these resolutions are implemented.
Right.
The situation today couldn't be more different. Does the UN still have any relevance, any role to play, especially in the Middle East?
I mean, we certainly are very, very disappointed with the UN and with the UN Security Council in particular, and this is not new. Unfortunately, the Security Council has always had this double standard policy where it would act very swiftly when it comes to condemning Arab countries, and very slowly or not at all when it deals with Israel. And we know why the Security Council is paralyzed. And this is a situation which is not going to be solved soon. So I understand the despair and the anger of the Arab public opinion when we talk about the inefficiency of the Security Council and its lack of relevance.
And that's very much being reflected in the special emergency session that's been held over the last 2 days. A number of countries condemning Israel, but Turkey going one step further and saying that Israel should be barred from the UN while it ignores the organization's calls to stop fighting in Gaza. These are the words of Prime Minister Tayyip Recep Erdogan. Should the UN General Assembly go further? And I ask you this because back in 1974, when President Abdelaziz Bouteflika of Algeria
Right.
headed the General Assembly, he took steps to suspend the membership of apartheid South Africa.
Right.
Could something similar happen in this case?
You know that for years, as a matter of fact, the Arab countries in the 80s and early in the 90s have tried many times to challenge the credentials of Israel, which means to bar Israel from attending the work of the General Assembly. But these repeated attempts have all failed. And I cannot imagine, to give you let's say a professional answer, I cannot imagine today the General Assembly taking a decision to bar Israel from attending its work. So,
Ambassador Abdallah Baali, Ambassador of Algeria to Washington, many thanks.
thank you.